Hello, I'm Dr. Heather Forkey. I'm a pediatrician and I'm a mom of 5 kids. I'm joined here today with my colleague and dear friend, Dr. Jessica Griffin.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica Griffin, and I'm a clinical psychologist and also the mother of 3 children. And so, a lot of the things that Heather and I talk about are things that actually apply in our own lives as parents. And, Heather, I've been meaning to talk to you about a particular topic. I know as parents, we find ourselves at the end of our rope sometimes. And I've heard from quite a few parents who've responded in ways that they felt were harsher or ways in which they didn't intend to with their kids. And in fact, I know, Heather, I talked to you recently about losing my cool with my own kid and saying something that was harsher than I intended it to be. So, what do you think about all that?
Jess, I think there's this idea that parents have to be perfect or do the ideal parenting thing all the time. And of course, that's totally unrealistic. We have so many things that are disrupting us and interfering with our concentration and work with our kids. The other thing, though, that we should keep in mind is that those periods of disruption or where we have these challenges actually provide an opportunity. It's an opportunity for kids to come to understand us a little bit better and for kids to understand themselves better. One of the really interesting things is that in America, we sort of have this constant kind of idea that you figure yourself out. Well, you don't actually figure yourself out. You get figured out because of how you're reflected by your parent or caregiver who loves you and is showing you what you feel and how to manage that day in and day out. That process of attuning that parent, listening to and watching and feeling those emotions with and for a child is how kids come to understand themselves. And initially, researchers used to think that parents had to be attuned to kids all the time. But of course, that's not how the world works. We're constantly distracted. We have our phones, we have our work that we have to do, we have chores. And so, of course, much of the time, our attention is distracted. And it turns out that it's not just in the moment, but it's actually as we disengage, but then come back together. And kids and parents, again, make meaning with each other, that kids really begin to understand themselves best and understand how to manage emotions and how to understand the world. Jess, you have some really good ideas about how we can talk to kids when these moments happen.
Sure, Heather. And it really is all about the repair. Sometimes those 2 words, I'm sorry, are just as powerful with our kids as the 3 words, I love you. So, for example, when I lost my cool with my daughter, I went back to her later after we both had calmed down. And I said, I want to talk to you about what I said. I'm sorry for saying that to you. Mommy was feeling really frustrated or exhausted, and I lost my temper. And then I want to ask my daughter, how did that make her feel? How did she feel? And I might offer to her, did you feel sad or hurt or afraid or confused? But acknowledge that, I probably made you feel pretty lousy and I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Sometimes grown-ups get stressed out too. And I've had a lot of grown-up problems on my mind and they aren't for you to worry about. But I made a mistake when I talked to you that way. Then I want to come up with a plan if this happens in the future. So the next time I get stressed out like that, I'll, try to do a better job and either take a walk or do some deep breathing or give myself a little timeout. So to summarize, what you want to do is own what happened, own the situation that you want to apologize for, account for your own feelings, how you were feeling at the time, say that you're sorry, that you made a mistake, acknowledge how your child felt or how made your child feel in that moment, and then ask for forgiveness. And finally, stating your plan for preventing that from happening in the future, what you're going to do about it next time. Heather, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, Jess, I think that was great. We hope this has been helpful. Of course, if you have a situation where your relationship with your child is more disrupted or you or your child have emotions that you really need some support managing, reaching out to your pediatrician or local mental health provider can be especially useful in your situation. Thank you so much for joining us.